What's going on YouTube? It's Toxcyn here, and today we gotta do a reaction video because it's finally here. Media1UP has finally put out their cabinet that we've been waiting for a really long time, and it's quite of a big buzz, right? We just got back some information from CES. Justin Wong did his video. I guess this is the OneUp Show. We gotta remember back in the day, Arcade OneUp had a show where they would engage and do a lot of communicating with the community, but then they disappeared and we don't know what happened. Okay, so what's going on in home arcade? It's been pretty much dead. There's not a lot going on, a lot of BS going around. We remember that pretty much Arcade OneUp peaked in the year 2022, and then we didn't really hear much back from them ever since. We got some cool cabinets. They started going in the right direction with the deluxe. We got the XLs finally. We got Pac-Man, but we never got the Miss Pac-Man XL. And then they started to take a really dark turn. People started getting let go from the company. You got the Slim Katie, that NBA Jam that looked really thin, that little piece of crap. We don't know what happened there, but long wait. Information has finally come out. John D has put out his MEDIA1UP company. We've been hearing a lot of buzz about it. He was being very cryptic, not revealing a lot of information, but we finally got some information from CES. So let's go ahead and watch the video from Justin Wong. Okay, and we'll switch over and we'll react to it. Okay, now you can see here from the video that they're playing this from a video, right? They hit a play button, and because of that, you're gonna hear double audio. I think that's, I'm not sure if that's OBS. I have that issue in OBS as well, where if I click monitor and output audio, it'll double up the sound. But we're gonna ignore that, okay? And then we'll react to the video and we'll skip along from the countdown.
All right, everybody, what is up? It's Justin Wong, and this is going to be the first episode of the My OneUp Show. Before we go any further, I have to tell you that due to time constraints and internet being sad to us, this is going to be pre-recorded, but future episodes will always be live. It's going to be talking about iconic arcade, news, updates. When it comes to home arcade, the community.
So you heard that he's talking about Iconic Arcade. So what it looks like is this is some kind of collaboration with Iconic Arcade. If you haven't heard about Iconic Arcade, that was that company that put out that really crap, garbage-looking arcade cabinet from the from GameStop. I saw Michael B cover that a couple of times. Not really too familiar with it. It looked like a really bad unit. And I don't think they had that here in the States. That might have been just in Canada. But Canada, they did have those really bad-looking purple arcade units from Iconic Arcade. So I guess that's where the partnership. I guess they're actually building the physical cab, and then John D is the MEDIA1UP LLC himself.
We want to share all that news, and the man, the myth, the legend, the person that puts everything for the home arcade community, one of the passion, the one that's the forefront leader, the one that pretty much got these two cabinets behind me, John D is going to be pretty much the main guest for the show.
So there you go, guys. John D is back. Let the glaze begin. Go ahead and glaze that donut, the Lord and Savior. All right, everyone's favorite messiah in the video game home arcade space. So yeah, let's go ahead. Start your glaze engines. All right, glaze that donut. Get it nice and creamy. All right.
And I'm going to ask them all the hard, heavy hitting questions that you guys want to know. So stay tuned for all that.
We'll see how hard and heavy the questions are.
Raise it bit by bit.
We finally have something to talk about.
Finally is right. Finally have something to talk about. By the way, as you can see here, it's two Street Fighter cabs. This is exactly what we expected from John D. If it was going to be anything, it was going to be a Capcom arcade because he's the Capcom guy. So we kind of already knew that. But they look pretty good. All right, they look pretty cool. I mean, they look better than anything that A1UP has done. Pretty nice artwork. No more glaze. Let's go.
It's been quite a journey, and I'm finally here. Like many of us in our 40s and 50s, I grew up in the arcades. It was such a special time. That magic you felt when you played your first arcade game.
So I gotta stop the video right there. What is he? Why is he talking like that? It's weird. Yeah, it's like a sad story. What's going on? What are you doing? It sounds like you should put it black and white and start playing "Sounds of an Angel." So yeah, very over dramatic. I don't know if that's necessary to convey the message or whatever the message is, but that's freaking hilarious. Very sad. I'm about to cry. I should get myself a little towel, wipe my tears. All right, let's continue.
It's no different than hearing that favorite song for the first time or watching a movie that you knew would be an instant classic.
So he's trying to hit the nostalgia feels.
It's that magic of nostalgia.
There you go.
I played Street Fighter 2 World Warrior when I was growing up in my arcade, and let me tell you, it was always packed. When you think about World Warrior, it really revived the arcade scene in the early 90s. Even, I feel like a lot of people also, when they think about Street Fighter 2 World Warrior, it's like the first true esports franchise, and also the grandfather of modern fighting games.
With its amazing graphics and catchy music, this game was so innovative because it allowed you to play a human opponent by implementing your own fighting style through these iconic characters.
Okay, so they're doing a little bit too much here. They're glazing Street Fighter 2 a little bit too hard. I don't think of esports as, Street Fighter 2. I think most people, when they think of esports, they kind of go over Street Fighter 3. You see Justin Wong there. Everybody remembers Wong versus Daigo. That was a big moment. That's kind of what you think about with esports. I don't think, well, I'm only 34, so I don't, maybe I'm just too young, but esports to me didn't start with Street Fighter 2. Also, you heard that he used the word iconic, so I don't know if he's doing that intentionally because of Iconic Arcade, but well, let's continue.
It's my honor and privilege to announce that a new challenger approaches, the iconic arcade Street Fighter XXL multimedia arcade machine. It has all the features that you come to expect, but so much more. This is a 9/10 scale cabinet inspired by the iconic Dynamo HS1 machine.
So let's go back and look at the dimensions there again, in case you missed it.
This is a 9/10 scale cabinet inspired by the iconic
910 scale. Now, I wanted to show you something here. If you look at the cabinet, you'll notice right in the front, they got 2 USB ports. So that's pretty interesting. I want to see what those are utilized for. I'm assuming it's for controllers. That would be cool if, player 2 is just too big and you can't stand next to player 1 if you want to hook up, your own arcade stick. Or if you want to hook up a controller, that would be pretty neat. I would assume that maybe somebody might misuse that and start hacking the machine because from what I understand, this is a Pi 5. But again, you can probably flash the image. I'm not sure if you want to do that because if you flash your Pi 5, you're going to lose probably the internet ability to go online and play this game online. But who knows? I'm not a big Pi guy. I don't know anything about the Pi 5. But we'll see. I just thought that was pretty cool.
Dynamo HS1 machine.
There are 2 unique artwork variants to choose from, Street Fighter Alpha 2 and Street Fighter 2 World Warrior.
Now, if you ask me, I think you should definitely want to go with the Street Fighter Alpha. We've already seen the original Street Fighter 2 so many times. It's been done many, many times. What is cool, though, is if you're a fan of Street Fighter 2, this is the best looking Street Fighter 2 cabinet you're going to get. We had that from Arcade 1UP. I remember those were the really small scale ones, the 3/4 scales with the riser. If you're a huge fan of Street Fighter 2, then you probably want to go with that one. I think Street Fighter Alpha is a better game. If you ask me, though, I think the Street Fighter 2 original cabinet is just a better looking cabinet. I'm just not the hugest fan of this or vanilla Street Fighter 2. So I think Alpha is probably the way to go for me. I'm not going to buy this, but I just think that the artwork is a lot better on the Alpha. Even though I think the Street Fighter 2 is a better design, I just think the Street Fighter Alpha is fresh. We haven't seen Alpha in home arcade yet. So they got the list of games there. They got Street Fighter Alpha 2 Third Strike. All right, I think it's very important that they have Third Strike on there. They have Street Fighter Alpha 3, of course. Street Fighter Alpha 1, 2, and 3, or 0 from Japan, right? You got the Street Fighter 2, the Champion Edition, all the good stuff, right? They don't have all 50 versions, but they have the most important one there. 1944 for the shooters. You got Pro Gear and Giga Wing 2, which is interesting. Remember the Yoga Flame from Arcade 1UP had Giga Wing 1, which is a really good game. So I'm glad to see that they have Giga Wing 2 over here. You got Final Fight and Knights of the Round Table for your beat 'em up. So you don't have too many beat 'em ups and you don't have too many shooters, but they do put them in there. Would have been cool to see Puzzle Fighter in there just to mix it up a little bit, but that's cool. I'm glad they have the Alpha series. They have Third Strike in there, which is pretty good. Your classic Street Fighter 2, a couple shooters, and a couple of beat 'em ups. I mean, if you're going to do beat 'em ups, you might as well do Final Fight. I think that's probably the best one. Knights of the Round is pretty good too. None of the wrestling games, though.
They come equipped with 14 classic games across different genres, from fighting to action to shoot 'em ups. and also features exclusive games like online versions of the Alpha series and Street Fighter III Third Strike for the very first time. These cabinets are the only officially licensed Raspberry Pi 5 arcade products in the market.
So, in case you didn't notice, the Alpha cabinet, if you look at the marquee, underneath the bezel, well, not the marquee, if you look at the bezel on the bottom of the screen, you have your move list, which is pretty cool. Now, very famously in the community, if you wanted those move lists on your bezel, you had to go to a third party and print it and then put it onto the bezel yourself. So that's pretty cool. Oh, I like that. I think that's pretty neat. But again, here you got a Raspberry Pi 5. I wonder what this big red button is under the speaker. That's pretty interesting, right?
Ensuring superior performance while giving us the ability to offer more advanced gaming libraries.
HDMI functionality is finally included in these arcade cabinets. And what that means is that for you content creators and esports organizers, you guys can run your own tournaments broadcasting live to the world.
That's a big deal, okay? So we've been waiting for HDMI on these cabinets for a very, very long time. There was always a reason why they couldn't do it. We always got some reason, the costs or whatever the hell it was. They never actually put HDMI on it. The only arcade that I'm aware of that got the HDMI was the Killer Instinct Pro. So this is a big deal because we do have a lot of tournaments. Mike Trades does a lot of tournaments on Back Alley 711. So that's going to be cool to finally have HDMI out because we've been using Geekworms for a really long time. If you've been modding in the scene, you know the Geekworm. Very unreliable piece of hardware, very bad video results, very finicky. Sometimes you got to use the 2.0, sometimes you got to use the 1.5. It doesn't always work properly. So big news, if you're looking to pick up this cabinet, tournaments are going to be better on the actual HDMI, okay? Hopefully the output is good. No screen stretching and all that stuff, but we'll see.
Adding a modern take on retro gaming, these XXL machines offer a feature-rich online multiplayer and leaderboard system. Iconic Arcade is a collaboration between technology giant MEDIA1UP, which is a Lenovo subsidiary, Aldom, and some of the top minds and talent of the home arcade community, like Justin Wong, Bobby Vu, Sean Musselbrook, Adam Kalb, and David McIntosh.
So that's interesting to hear. So Iconic Arcade is a Lenovo company. We all know Lenovo. They make electronics and stuff like that. I like to hear that Bobby Vu's involved in this. If you know Bobby Vu, he is one of the biggest guys in building these machines. I think Bobby Vu and Joel from Retro Lizard are the best physical cabinet makers. They make the coolest freaking cabs. Bobby has done amazing cabinets. He made a Knight Rider cabs, Transformers cabs, all kinds of crazy cabs. He's very, very creative in designs. So hearing that his input is taken into consideration working with the company is really, really good to hear. And it's probably why the cab looks so nice. Again, it's just a good looking machine. I think it looks better than the Arcade OneUp HS5. You notice there's no riser there. It looks accurate. It looks pretty good.
This product is unapologetically targeted to those who live in the arcade era and those who want to experience it with us. It's a product for the community, by the community. Just like how Street Fighter was the revival of the arcade scene, we are the revival of the home arcade category.
So that's a pretty big target to hit, right? It's pretty high up there. So John D wants to revive the home arcade community with this cabinet. Now, is he going to do that? I have my thoughts on that, and I'll talk about that at the end of the video, but you heard it there. They want to revive home arcade, so we'll talk about that at the end of the video when I give my thoughts on the whole thing.
Here comes a new challenger, Iconic Arcade. Let's change the game together.
Very, very, very dramatic. Now, I think this is the section where they start talking about questions and stuff like that.
What's up, everybody? This is Justin Wong, and I'm here to welcome you to the first episode of the My OneUp Show. And I know you guys have seen all the news about Iconic Arcade and pretty much what they are showing off. And I have the man right here who's the forefront and so much passion when it comes to the home arcade community. John D, how are you doing?
I'm doing
a lot of glaze there, okay? That donut is extra creamy, okay? No. Let's carry on. Just wanted to stop that. Let you know how sweet that donut is.
Here, can't believe it, but thanks for the nice intro.
Oh, I'm just here just because.
I'm just here.
I love retro gaming. You love.
Let's skip ahead.
We may have a couple more shipments after that, but it's going to be on the
About this type of stuff, right?
Sure.
So let's talk about the release date. What you got?
Okay, so the first shipments will be beginning of June.
Okay.
and we may have a couple more shipments after that, but it's going to be on a first come, first served basis.
First come.
So take note of that. First come, first served basis. What that tells me is there's an element of FOMO in here, okay? Early shipments in June. That's a good announcement. Gives you time to prepare, to save some money, to sell some cabs. Maybe you want to sell Big Buck Hunter or any other arcade. So go ahead and start saving some money now. I believe they get to the price point in here in a second, but early June. Remember, these things push back. Sometimes if they're not ready, they will push back, but at least you have some time. So let's see. And again, first come, first serve basis. And the pre-orders are open as of today, right? Or as of the end of that video yesterday. Yeah, FOMO.
First come, first serve basis. What's the price point on this?
It's $699.99. That includes shipping.
Include shipping.
Includes shipping.
Oh my God. Okay.
All right, so let's talk about that too. It's $699. Now it is a little bit expensive, but we got to take into consideration what we have here. This is $699. We remember that Arcade OneUp started pushing the $699 price tag with some of their bigger cabinets. I believe the Time Crisis was $699. It's expensive, but it's kind of hard to gauge this one because we know we're not going to really be collecting Arcade OneUp anymore, right? That's just not a thing. They're not putting out cabs like they used to where you always had to get the next cabinet. If you ask me, I think you should, if you're going to get this, you want to replace your Big Blue with this thing. So it's a little bit of an investment. It's a better machine, obviously. You got the 19-inch BOE. You got the better form factor. You got the HDMI out. You got the USB ports. It's a better machine. Obviously, it is more expensive than a Arcade OneUp machine. So $699. I think if the fans really want this, they'll get it. And because this is new, don't expect a sale. This is not like Arcade OneUp where it goes up for sale and then a couple months later it's like $100 or $150 off. So you can forget that. It's going to be $699, but they include shipping, so that's pretty interesting. Now that's a big component. Remember, shipping for these big machines is usually around $100, $50 to $100.
So now, because you released the big news about the release date and how much it is, pre-orders. Everyone needs to know, like, because it's first come, first serve, when do pre-orders open?
Pre-orders open today.
Today?
So it's on dmiinnovations.com. That's a website by Spreetel, who's the #1 big box distributor, $1 billion distributor. So, we can go with a wide release. Will be available in Canada and then also available in Europe and Australia.
Well, that's a good.
That's actually pretty interesting. Europe and Australia and Canada. Remember, a lot of stuff doesn't go to Canada. I don't think Australia got any cabinets. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think they did, actually, Australia. I'm not really too sure. I think they did. But shipping to Canada was always a big problem. So that's pretty interesting. Okay, Europe. Europe and all of North America. Nice.
Good thing, because I live in Canada. All right. So now I want to ask more about kind of like the technical stuff. Talk to me about online. What are the online capabilities of the cabinet?
We'll have online multiplayer and leaderboards.
Yep.
We'll have a lobby system.
Okay.
A friend system, or what do you call that?
Yeah, friend system is good. I mean, friend system, buddy list,
Buddy list. Create your own rooms. We have spectate mode for sure.
Okay.
Another community wants that, and a lot of other features that we'll talk about in the future.
Yeah,
I'm interested in the features that he's talking about in the future because we already expect that if this is going to go for sale, it has to have online. There's no way you could do this without online. Otherwise, you wouldn't buy this thing. So that's pretty interesting. I want to know what they're talking about in the future. It's got the leaderboards. It's got the friends list. I'm glad they have a friends list. Lobbies. I wonder if that's also iconic, paying for the servers. That's to be expected. I really want to know what he's talking about in the future with other features.
I mean, the spectate mode, online lobby, and obviously with HDMI, that's already like everything that, the people want, right?
Right.
So now what the people want to know, obviously we see Alpha 2 and everything, game lists.
So we have 14 games initially.
14.
For the first time, we have Street Fighter 3 Third Strike online. We have the Alpha series online. We have some Naomi games like Gigawing.
So the games list is cool. I'm glad that they have Street Fighter 3 online. What I really want to know is the performance. How is this going to perform? Because that was a major problem with some of the other fighting cabs with Marvel vs. Capcom 2. the lag, the input delay, how accurate, how fast is it? Okay, so we haven't seen that yet. We remember last time we saw an arcade cabinet at CES when they did the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 arcade cabinet at CES. The input lag was insane. Now, they did improve that over the years, and I say years because it did take a very long time to get that cabinet up and running completely. They improved on it a little bit, but it's not the same. If you play Marvel vs. Capcom Collection on console or Steam PC, whatever, you notice obviously it doesn't play the same as it does on the cabinet. The input lag is a major factor, and we're just gonna have to wait to see that. Remember, if you're pre-ordering this, we have no idea how this is gonna perform.
Yeah.
It's a huge, powerful system. It's also has great community and development support. It's able to play games that are way more advanced, so that opens up, games that have never been licensed before. So some Naomi games as well. And also, it basically has a lot of the features that the community has always wanted.
Yeah.
They wanted from a product like this. It's bigger than 3/4 scale, so we call it like a 9/10 scale machine.
So it's not 3/4 scale, it's 9/10 scale, it's more accurate. They're calling this thing the XXL, which implies that it's bigger than XL. So it's going to be a pretty big machine.
It's the width is a little wider than its competition. It's joystick screen, so this comes with a 19-inch VOE screen with Sanwa style buttons and half style joystick.
So there you go. You got a hab style joystick with Sanwa buttons and a 19-inch VOE. Some people might have an issue with the stick. I'm not really sure. The stick is a very important component to this. We know the buttons. I'm glad they're using Sanwa. They're not using cheap garbage buttons like they usually do. But these could be Sanwa clones. He said Sanwa. He didn't say Sanwa clones. Very interesting. I think those are the best buttons. My thing with the buttons is everybody has different preferences for buttons. Some people like the concave. Some people like convex. Some people like Sanwa. Some people like hap. That's very, I guess, subjective on to what's good and what's bad with that. But me personally, I like the Sanwa buttons. I've always been a Sanwa guy, as long as they're not too sensitive. The stick, though, that's more where people get very picky with the stick. But we'll see. I'm glad they have a 19-inch BOE and no more garbage 17-inch baby screen, because that was ridiculous.
We have the lit marquee. I mean, it just really looks.
Also, I wanted to note that the marquee, I don't know if it's the lighting in this video, but it does look very washed out. It could be the camera. It could be the lighting in the room. But from what John D says here, it's Angel Otero, Disability, who does the marquees, and he's been one of the go-to guys for marquees. Disability and Joe Sabos, the top team for replacement marquees. Though I don't know about this video. I can't really tell from here.
Looks like an accurate machine.
No, I mean, you're not wrong, because when I first walked in, something from the Relic, but this is Icon Arcade, and the best part about it, USB. The fact that like, let's say you're not a joystick player, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of people have transitioned to like pad or like a hitbox. You can plug those in like with the USB, so that's really cool. That like.
So there you go. That's what the USB is for. Just as we suspected, it is for USB controllers. You can plug in your own stick. The hitbox is really cool. A lot of people that are very bougie. I'm sorry, I'm making fun of you guys, but yeah, a lot of people like to use hitboxes, so that's pretty interesting. Though I wonder how you would kind of hold that stick. I guess you'd have to be sitting down, right? I guess what you would have to do is you'd have to use the HDMI to the TV and then sit down with the your hitbox. But then at that point, you're not standing in front of the arcade cabinet, so it is kind of weird, right? But I mean, it's a feature. It's there. It's always good to have more features than not, right? I wouldn't use it personally, but I guess it's better more for the control. If you wanted to use a pad, I think that's more what that USB thing is for.
There's something for everybody, right?
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, one thing about this is we really want to capture the look of the iconic arcade. Right?
Yeah.
This is a recreation of the Dynamo HS1.
Yeah.
So we made sure that this was very accurate to the old school arcade, and yeah, I mean, it has like a waterfall type of control panel. Again, it's everything that I envisioned, or that the 90% there. What's great about this is we're about 90% there. What's great about this.
So there he says, Justin Wong asked him, is this ready yet? I skipped that part, but he asked him, is this ready? And he says it's about 90% there. Is that going to worry you? If this is supposed to ship in June and it's at 90%, I don't think that's too much to worry about. Glad he's being honest and saying that it's not 100%, but it's 90%. So I guess take that how you will, right?
We're going to take feedback for the next couple months or so.
Okay.
So they're going to be taking feedback and making minor improvements, which is good to hear.
You know, does the control panel need an extra button, or should the placement of the power button be somewhere, or, you know, again, we have an
Okay, so I believe what that button up here is for, I think that's your power button.
opportunity to have the community help us bring this cabinet to 100%.
Yeah.
But the great thing about it is, you see, I mean, we're pretty much there. Now it's just fine tuning and tweaking for, you know, to make.
Showing off your babies. So I want to give you the floor. Talk to me about your supporters, the people that you want to thank, and everyone.
So I'm gonna stop the video there. He does some shouts and thanks. And yeah, so I want to give my thoughts on this. Do we really need this arcade cabinet? Is it a little bit too late for Media One Up? Are we pretty much already on our ways out of the home arcade community? Personally, I'm already pretty much done with it. The last machine that I bought was this X-Men 97. I don't plan on collecting any more cabs. The only cab that I really want is the Nova Blast, and then maybe a bigger 4K pinball eventually. But I really don't want any more cabinets. They become too much of a burden to carry, to collect, to move around. I've been moving a lot, so it's just hard. You know, I have to pay for storage to keep all my cabinets. If I didn't have a Big Blue, I would probably get this. I would use this as a replacement to replace your Big Blue. Now, John D wants to bring back the home arcade community. I don't know if he can actually do it with this cabinet. It might be a little bit too late. The price is okay. It's not the worst. It's not too expensive. It's a better machine. It's much bigger. It's 9/10 scale. It's not 3/4 scale. It's got way more features than anything Arcade One Up could ever put out. It's just a better looking machine all around. It's way, way, way better. It's a massive improvement. However, I'm not 100% sure that he can achieve what he wants to achieve with this cabinet. I just don't. This is only one cabinet. Are we going to get more cabinets? Are we going to get different cabinets? This is designed off the HS1 cabinet, not the HS5. So I think there was a lot of community input. I think Bobby Vu put in a lot of input in. I'm just guessing, but I think he put in a lot of input on which cabinet design to go with in terms of the physical box, which is great. It's a massively nice looking cabinet. I think Big Blue is a better looking cabinet. I think it's cooler looking cabinet, but this is a more of a generic. I don't want to say generic, but I think more mainstream cabinet for people that are not big into arcades. The hugest fans that are kind of like on the verge and not really sure. I think the HS1 is a better approach. So I think that was a good idea. Now, I have questions about the marquee. It looked washed out in the video. My questions are the performance. How is this going to perform? We have to see demo units. We have to see how it performs, right? I'm interested to see this. I really am. You know, I'm not really too much excited for home arcade stuff anymore. I'm already trying to move away from it. I still have the hobby for arcade, but I don't want to get fully wrapped up and caught up in home arcade stuff. But I am very, very interested to see how this goes. Now, I feel like there's going to be a lot of glazing. You know, John D is back, so I feel like there's going to be a lot of people who want to be influencers for Media One Up. I know there's a lot of people that like to get free cabinets and do a lot of interviews and reviews, get the exclusive scoops. So I wonder if people are going to glaze. But we have to remember that if anybody's going to review this, we're going to want reviews from consumer guys. We don't want reviews from guys that are going to glaze John D to get free cabinets. We don't want to be, we don't want videos from employees of Media One Up. We don't want influencer groups from Media One Up. We want to know from somebody who spent $700 from their pocket how this is going to perform. So hopefully we do get those reviews when they do come out. Again, I'm glad they have a Media One Up show that's going to be very community based. It's a tall order for John D. I don't know if he's going to succeed in doing what he wants to do with this, but only time will tell. It's cool. If you're still into home arcade and you think is this what you've been waiting for? Is this the cabinet that you were waiting all these months for? Arcade One Up, who cares? You know, unless Arcade One Up puts a Miss Pac-Man XL, I don't care what they do. They're not doing anything interesting. This is more interesting. But we'll see. I mean, not everybody's into Street Fighter, right? So that's going to also knock down the hype for this. They do have shooters. But are you going to pay $700 to play Giga Wing 2 and Final Fight? Who knows? You have to be a real big Capcom fan. So it's a tall order. I wonder if John D can do it. And we'll find out. Anyway, go ahead and like and subscribe. Check out my channel. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. Is this the cabinet for you? Is John D gonna bring back the home arcade community? Who knows? We'll find out. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.